Okay, so we were talking about, I think we're going to finish up amirah la'akum now. We talked about when it is permitted. We talked about the difference between schirut and schir yom and kablanut, meaning if you have a per diem arrangement with somebody, which is problematic, versus kablanut, which is when you have a finished product or service that has to be done. And then we talked about, we read a story. We ended off last time with a story about somebody who insisted on having their work done for them, their new house built after a fire on Shabbos, and how it did not end well. We talked about maras ayin, how important it is, even when it is legally okay, it may be prohibited because people will see what you're doing and misunderstand and learn the wrong things from that. Okay, so let's pick up. Trash collection on Shabbos and Yom Tov. One may put out trash and garbage before Shabbos and Yom Tov, even if their removal will be made on Shabbos, right? You have the trash collectors come, and in America, let's say, this doesn't happen here, but in America, there's trash collection on Shabbos. So if you take out your trash Friday night, and it's going to be picked up Shabbos day, that's different maybe than taking out your trash before Shabbos. There's no question of maras ayin here because it's common knowledge that the municipality and not the homeowner sets the collection schedule. As a rule, maras ayin applies only to activities that are performed in a manner that it is ordinarily forbidden. If one's trash is collected by a private contractor, he must stipulate beforehand that trash pickups may not be made on Shabbos. If this is not possible and another contractor is not available, one is permitted to make the trash removal arrangement anyway. These are things that come up in communities in America for sure. Leasing equipment, automobile, etc. to a non-Jew over Shabbos. Leasing equipment used for malacha activities, right? Let's say you rent out cars, and you're going to rent a car out to a non-Jew. Used for or let's say you're renting out a lawnmower or construction equipment, right, or a truck to a non-Jew over Shabbos may be forbidden because the arrangement, depending upon the terms of the lease, can be tantamount to tacit amirah la'akum. The reason is as follows. The basic interest of the lesser, meaning somebody who is providing the item to be leased, is to earn income from his equipment. Thus, the Jewish lesser has a basic interest that the equipment be used on Shabbos by the non-Jew. Were he to exclude its use on Shabbos, he would need to reduce the rates accordingly. This type of arrangement therefore resembles shlichut, or agency, because it's like he's dispatching the guy to actually do the malacha on Shabbos. He benefits from that malacha and he wants him to do it, to the extent that it is as if the non-Jew's use of the equipment on Shabbos is through the Jew's instruction. As explained and clarified in earlier paragraphs, malacha performed by a non-Jew in a manner of shlichut is forbidden under the prohibition of amirah la'akum, even if the Jew derives no benefit from the malacha itself. Meaning, why is the non-Jew doing malacha? For himself. He's not doing the malacha for the non-Jew, but the non-Jew wants him to do the malacha because it's creating his benefit. So that's as if. That's the argument here. As in this case in which the non-Jew is doing malacha with the equipment exclusively for his own use. However, this problem is only evident when the lease begins on Friday and extends through Shabbos. On the other hand, if the equipment is leased on Thursday, the appearance of shlichut is not evident since a significant lease period began before Shabbos. Wow, this is so out there. One may therefore rent equipment to a non-Jew on Thursday, even if it is clear that the non-Jew intends to use it on Shabbos and no stipulations restricting its Shabbos use are required. So you see how serious this is, even where we said that it can be lenient in so many areas, and you would think that this really has nothing to do with you, but it's really, the only reason why you're giving it to him is that you should have as much money as you can from his use, and therefore he should have as much use as possible, and therefore over the period of time that you gave it to him. So if Shabbos happens to be in that period, and you did not specifically state that he can't use it then, so we said that's not a problem. However, it is a problem if the lease specifically begins on Friday and extends through Shabbos. Okay, so it's the appearance of shlichut. Okay. The question of schar Shabbos, meaning earning money on Shabbos for what's going on Shabbos, that's a problem. You can't do business on Shabbos. So over here, that's not problematic. because the Shabbos earnings are integrated in those of the weekday. They're not special earnings for Shabbos. They're not. It's not like how much is used on Friday, how much is used on Shabbos. It's how much is used throughout. Okay, so it's not considered that you're specifically making money over Shabbos. Okay, a Jewish-owned business on Shabbos. A Jewish business owner is not permitted to allow his business to operate on Shabbos, even if he hires a non-Jew to completely manage the enterprise during that time. This is forbidden for two reasons: amirah la'akum and marat ayin. So those are the same two reasons. Meaning, normally you could run your business you can have your business run by a non-Jew on Shabbos, and you're not violating anything from the Torah. You're not doing anything, but it's still 100% amirah la'akum. And even where it would be legal in terms of amirah la'akum, it is 100% maras ayin. Anybody who sees that is going to think that you're doing it in a way that it is legal, and that's wrong. So, in terms of amirah la'akum, the problem is, remember, we said there are four problems with amirah la'akum. Either because you're dispatching somebody to do something for you, and he's your agent, so it's as if you're doing it on Shabbos, or because he's creating something that wasn't there on Shabbos for you to derive benefit from, so you're not allowed to do that, or because you have to instruct him, or you have to plan it out. Okay, so here the problem of having your business run on Shabbos by a non-Jew is specifically because he is your agent. If the non-Jew is hired on a per-day basis, then the non-Jew's performance of managerial responsibilities on behalf of the Jew's business are equivalent to any amirah la'akum situation in which the Jew is asking the non-Jew to perform a Shabbos restriction for him. Obviously. Okay, in terms of maras ayin. Maras ayin, by the way, I don't know if I ever said this, but just so everybody knows, literally that means the appearance of the eye. What we're concerned with maras ayin is that somebody would witness it and draw incorrect conclusions about the halacha. Operating the business through the management of a non-Jew is forbidden even if the non-Jew is employed on a commission basis, meaning even if he's not being paid per day, but he is what we call a kablan. Why? Thereby, normally, right, on a commission basis, it would eliminate the amirah la'akum prohibition, but over here, it's prohibited because of the factor of maras ayin. Maras ayin exists because any such arrangement inevitably lends itself to the appearance of a forbidden schirut, since this is generally how such business arrangements are made. Since businesses usually function this way, even if you have a different arrangement, nobody's going to understand that, so even if you're allowed to, it's still maras ayin. One must conclude that for most practical purposes, it is impossible to keep a Jewish-owned business functioning permissibly on Shabbos, because there is at the very least the presence of the maras ayin prohibition when a Jewish-owned business is operated by a non-Jew on Shabbos, regardless of how their employment agreement was made. Yes? The problem with maras ayin is that there's a Gemara in Sota in the 7th parak that says that arvut means that every brit that God made by Har Grizim and Har Evel and on Sinai, that you agreed to do the mitzvot, you are responsible for them doing it too. And therefore, at the very least, on certain levels of halachot, you can't do things. Also, it's lifnei iver lo titein michsha. So we have certain considerations. Those are halacha considerations. That's a deoraisa. The Torah says you should not put a stumbling block in front of somebody, right? The Mishnah says, someone who says, sheli sheli v'shalcha shalcha. What's mine is mine, is what yours is yours. Zu midas sidon. That's what the Mishnah says. That's true. V'yesh omrim. It's in the Mishnah though. Judah, is it time yet?
What's that?
Is it time yet? Okay. This is okay. You cannot deny that the Mishnah says that. Now you can argue that it has anything to do with what we're talking about, but the Mishnah does say that.
If someone sees, it could be a non-Jew also. Non-Jew sees something and he comes to the conclusion that what he sees.
No, a non-Jew. We're not concerned about a non-Jew. We're concerned about a Jew understanding the halacha wrong because of what you're doing, therefore going to be mechal Shabbos.
So there's also the Gemara that says if you see someone doing it,
You should know that he did right.
So it all depends on the person who sees it.
No, but so here you have to exactly. We're exactly, and therefore the definition of maras ayin is that if the average person would observe this without knowing any special conditions, they would incorrectly conclude from this that it would be okay to do something which is not okay. That's Maras Ayin. No, it's not their problem. I mean, you know who said that? Cain said that. Hashomer achi anochi, am I my brother's keeper? Right?
No, I'm not my brother's keeper.
That's what Cain said.
He's all the way in there.
Well, that's, yeah. We hope that he joins the rest of us soon. Okay, everybody. That was a lot of fun. Can't wait till next time.
You still didn't answer my question.
What? No, I believe I did.
You believe you did.
Try again. One more time. Just for fun.
Let me try to explain myself. I always have to understand.
Okay.
It's like a joke. If I tell a joke and you're offended by it, that's your problem, not mine.
That's not what's happening here.
If I do something and you come to the conclusion that I've done something wrong, that's your problem, not mine.
Not always.
I don't have to go around being careful, walking down the street and be careful if someone else
Well,
thinks something.
normative halacha argues with that to the point where there are so many halachot that are just based on that concern, not because of anything less than we have to maintain that things are done in a way that provides, that makes it a more open and transparent, and that people can serve God and do the mitzvah, as opposed to obfuscating the mitzvah and making it harder for people to arrive at the proper conclusion. You're not supposed to. The pasuk says, "Vayitem nekiyim," and you should be clean in the eyes of God and in the eyes of Israel. There are so many references to how you do have to be concerned. So there are a lot of, first of all, there are a lot of places, it's true, that a healthy way through life is to know what you have to be concerned about vis-a-vis other people's thoughts and opinions and what not. But here it's more of a responsibility to make sure that everybody stands as a role model in their service of God. And therefore, in what you know the average person sees on the outside from that, there are certain things you want to make sure that they don't learn wrong halacha. That's all. It's a concern for that nobody should conclude the halacha. Do you do something, is it good parenting to do something in front of a child that they cannot process, that they would not have the tools to have? Just because you're totally in the right, but you know that they would make a very simple, wrong, erroneous conclusion, is it right to expose a child to that? Can you say, they'll figure it out? You're in the right to do what you have to do. You always have to take appropriateness, a consideration of what's appropriate into account. And that's responsible. And I think there is a balance I will concede, meaning your point is well taken, but it is not the whole picture. And not only that, but in the face, there is a whole bunch of halachos that talk about the importance of where you actually do have to consider that. And I can't answer to that or explain that. I don't have to. That's what it's meaning that's not under, nobody debates that about halacha. Halacha is concerned with that. I didn't make up Maras Ayin.
So what is Maras Ayin applied by Chadri Kadol?
I don't know if it does.
Huh?
I don't, no. Because there's something called a lo plug. You don't apply a halacha only when there is Maras Ayin. Because there is a concern of Maras Ayin, even b'chadri chadarim, you're not allowed to. That's just because, that's not about Maras Ayin. That's because of function of the Rabbanans, how they work with lo plug. Because if you start making distinctions, you're going to make mistakes. If you are not careful in your chadri chadarim, you won't be careful in public either. I believe that, that's called a lo plug, that we don't differentiate, because, meaning, consistency is consistency, and it all is born out of the Chazal's sense of human nature. Yeah. Okay. I leave you in the most capable mind, words, and hands of our dear friend, teacher of the Ashla Kabbalah here at the Alshech, my friend, Dr. Rabbi Judah Lazarus.